I'd seen lion's mane mushroom as one of those substances that seemed extremely safe. I found it was sold in Whole Foods grocery, so I bought it and I took it for 2 weeks. And I was taking it every morning in my coffee. And then, like, after the week, like I mentioned, I was getting these heart palpitations. And then at the second week, I couldn't sleep. It was just like a total loss of sleep. Let's say theoretically, putting caffeine in my system all throughout the night. And this went on for 8 months straight. I visited the emergency many times. There were 3-4 days I was up in a row. I'd been on every sleeping medication that they would throw out. You name the sleeping medication, I'd probably been on it. And at one point I was on 3 sleeping medications. So I was taking 10 pills a night. I was on high dosage. And even at that point, I could barely stay asleep for an hour to 2 hours. It was the scariest thing in my life.
So today on the show, we've got Ryan joining us. Ryan is a moderator for a lion's mane support group for people who've had severe adverse reactions to the supplement. And he's kindly enough agreed to come and talk about his experience with lion's mane, and then also what he's been seeing in others who have had reactions to this. So Ryan, thank you so much for coming on. Let's just start at the beginning. So tell us, how did you end up taking lion's mane?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I had long work days and I was looking kind of for something along the lines of cognitive enhancement and, I kind of like an equivalent to an energy drink. And I was researching on Reddit and other sites, and I had looked up, I'd seen lion's mane mushroom as one of those substances that seems extremely safe. I mean, I found it was sold in Whole Foods grocery, sold in all these places. So I assumed it was completely fine. So I bought it and I took it for 2 weeks.
How long after taking it did you? Well, actually, tell me this: did it work?
No, I felt a bit hazy, and it was I was getting these unusual heart palpitations about a week after, but I did not even put the two together. I just assumed it was caffeine. But I had never experienced that. So I immediately said, okay, it's the coffee. I never thought it was lion's mane but in the group and, in the group that I created lion's mane recovery on Reddit, there's a lot of people who've gotten heart palpitations, all these unusual side effects.
Yeah. Why do people take lion's mane? Just from surveying the members in your group and what you know about it, what's the reason people might take this supplement?
That's actually a very good question. And looking in hindsight, like in my situation, I question that every day. But I think what most people are doing is the same thing along the lines of why I initially took it. Is just to get a little bit of a boost, and because it's touted as safe. Maybe or some people are thinking it's even safer than an energy drink or coffee, because it's a health food mushroom. But yeah, people are just generally trying to get a little bit of a cognitive boost to improve their focus, just to improve their cognitive ability in general.
And so when did you start noticing that, I guess, the lion's mane was causing you problems? Could you tell me that story?
Yeah, so I'd been taking it for 2 weeks, and I was taking it every morning in my coffee. And then, like, after the week, like I mentioned, I was getting these heart palpitations. And then at the second week, I couldn't sleep. It was just like a total loss of sleep. I didn't even understand that something like this could exist. Like I had no prior health issues. I had no issues at all with my health. I'd seen a doctor frequently every 6 months for checkups, and there were no signs of anything, with no problems with my sleep. And then all of a sudden I just cannot sleep. It was as if I was wide awake, as if someone was like torturing me to like stay awake to put, or like, let's say theoretically, putting caffeine in my system all throughout the night. And this went on for 8 months straight. So I visited the emergency many times. There were 3-4 days I was up in a row. I couldn't even believe what was happening. I'd been on every sleeping medication that they would throw at me. You name the sleeping medication, I'd probably been on it. And at what point I was on 3 sleeping medications. So I was taking 10 pills a night. I was on high dosage. And even at that point, I could barely stay asleep for an hour to 2 hours. It was the scariest thing in my life. I actually thought I was going to die because of this. So I don't know if I should share this, but I was so scared. I went and made a will because I thought, I didn't know what the hell. I had no prior health issues, Dr. Joseph. There was nothing, no remote sign of health issues. So yeah, sorry to make that answer long, but it was just
no. What did the doctors say was happening to you when you developed insomnia for 8 months?
So they immediately, all of them immediately said it was anxiety. I'd seen a psychiatrist in because I'd kept going back because I was begging. I said, please, I cannot sleep. I wasn't having any unusual thoughts, anything like that. I was just complete total loss of sleep. And, I was getting just a lot of, it's anxiety based. You're thinking too much. And I kept saying, well, I was thinking before and I was working before and I didn't have sleep issues like this. Not even remotely. I think probably the worst night when I was fully normal, the worst night would be 5 hours or 6 hours. This was like 1 hour, turned into 1 hour. But they did not know what to do. It was sad, but I had, some doctors in the emergency just say to me, look, we don't know what's going on, but I wish you the best. Here, take some Seroquel, low dose Seroquel. And I was a guy who'd never taken medication in my life. So I'd be just pushed on all this stuff. Nobody told me about tapering. And now I know, sadly I've had to research all these compounds and pharmaceuticals and I'm pretty understanding of everything now, but I can't believe how taking a lion's mane mushroom supplement turned into my life completely being turned over into this nightmare.
So what else? I know you mentioned the insomnia was really prominent. Were you having any other symptoms from the lion's mane mushroom apart from insomnia?
Yeah, so I was getting a bunch of these really scary symptoms. Some I still have to this day, but I was getting internal vibrations. So I was getting these vibrations throughout my body, throughout my back, throughout my hands. I was getting these myoclonus jerks. So I was getting these frequent jerks through my muscles, my body, and my hands would be flicking, my knees would be twitching. I was having a lot of cognitive impairment. I couldn't remember anything. I was just, even my surroundings, I felt like I was lost. It was just, to think back, it was just unbelievable. I was fully functioning. And I went from that to this complete, just, I don't know, it's like I had a brain injury or like I was like in a massive car accident or something. It was just like unbelievable. There were so many days, Dr. Joseph, I couldn't walk. I could barely tie my shoes. My family everybody could not believe what was going on with me. It was unbelievable.
And when did you realize that this might have something to do with lion's mane? And here's the second part of it. How did you come to think that lion's mane could have been involved in this?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So I figured, what did I start taking? And I put the 2 and 2 together, and that was the only thing I'd started taking in the 2 weeks. So I'd done a little more research, and I know this is all anecdotal, and there's no doctor that believes any of this, and I completely understand. But I had found some posts that go back 10 years, and individuals saying that they took it, a few times and that they got, what they deemed was brain damage or a form of damage, depersonalization. They got all these unusual symptoms. And I remember there were several comments saying, this is the only supplement that somebody's taken that has damaged them. So I kind of figured, okay, well, something's going on here. And I posted my story on Reddit online. And I got a number of people reach out to me. People are telling me unbelievable side effects that they were getting from taking this mushroom supplement. Things like, some people had to go for MRIs to see what was going on, to check, which the MRIs didn't show anything. They had to they were going for different blood tests just to see, and nobody could really prove that it was a supplement, but it was just a connection of when the symptoms started and when after they started taking this mushroom supplement. So I just figured that it had to be this. And then I created, so I actually was in touch with a guy who got, so he took one dose of a mushroom supplement, this lion's mane mushroom supplement, and for 1 year he could not sleep. And him and I were conversing back and forth, and we created this lion's mane recovery group, and we're just like, okay, let's see how many people are also experiencing this. And like now the group is being, up for over a year, and there's just so many unbelievable stories. I can't even go in the group anymore, Dr. Joseph, because I can't read the stories, because it's so traumatic to have people, share that their life is ruined, by something so, innocent as taking a supplement, but, or we think innocent, but
there's so much I want to go in there. Can you give my audience a sense of how many people are in the group? I mean, I know you said it's been up for about a year. How many people have found this group and have come on to learn about this? Maybe even they've got it, or they're trying to help someone else who has it.
Yeah, I think the last time I checked the group members, a couple of weeks ago, it was like 9,200 or something around that
in a
area.
Year.
Yeah,
okay.
it's unbelievable. And I think I was talking to the guy who helps me run it, and we're thinking that because it's becoming so popular and it's becoming so mainstream, these mushroom supplements, that I guess people are people are experimenting with it, taking it, and realizing, but there's posts in the group daily about people's side effects, that's crazy, really.
Okay, yeah, that's a lot actually for something that's only been up there for a year. 9,000 members. To give people a sense, I think PSSD has been up there for several more years. I don't know exactly how many, but I'm going to say at least like 3, maybe even longer. And they're only at like 11,000, and so
wow.
It's pretty much where you've gotten this in about a year. But from being in the group and sort of seeing what people are putting in there, Ryan, can you just give us a sense of what tend to be the most common symptoms that people experience following a lion's mane injury? Like how, just kind of putting it together, if there was going to be a top 5 symptoms that seem to be most common just from the anecdotes within the Reddit group. Could you just share some of that?
Yeah. So it really varies, but one typical side effect is total loss of sleep. Another one is anhedonia. Another is like muscle twitching, like a nerve pain. Like for example, there's few individuals who share that they have constant nerve pain like 4 or 5 years after stopping taking it. Another big one is depersonalization, derealization. I believe that's something with the kappa opioid receptors. So yeah, it's really all over the place, but the main ones are sleep, depersonalization, anhedonia, nerve issues. One person said that it feels like their nerves are burning, tingling. I cannot believe that these people have these symptoms over this. It's sold in Whole Foods groceries, so it's just, it's hard to even believe, really.
Yeah. And I know I talk to a lot of people with drug injuries. Do you have any people complaining about cognitive impairment, difficulties concentrating with memory, things like that? Or is it mostly the sort of the other symptoms that you've had?
Yeah, there are actually quite a few people complaining about cognitive impairment. A lot of people say they have a lot of brain fog, and sometimes it doesn't go away for people. That brain fog stays, and for some people it goes away. People I've read people say that's because of neurogenesis. But I've had a number of people say, like one guy had said that he couldn't, after he took it, he was in college and he could count to 20 afterwards.
Yeah, I imagine if you can't sleep as well, that must be pretty cognitively damaging as well, like that.
Mm-hmm.
But so Ryan, tell us your story so I can get a sense of what recovery looks like. Do you feel like you've recovered at all since you were? Well, how long has it been since you were hurt? If you could give us the years and months.
Yeah, so it all began November of 2021, and that's over 2 years now. And so my recovery, it's kind of unbelievable actually that I still have some pretty horrible side effects that are still with me. Like I just can't believe this exists, but I live with a constant headache. I live with a stiff neck, stiff scalp, muscles, and I have a internal throbbing inside my head. And I have like a stiff jaw. So I don't understand. I can't, I've seen about 7 neurologists in Canada. Nobody can give me any indication of why I have to live like this. There's no solution for me to live like this. I live in constant discomfort. Even right now on this phone call with you, I'm in constant discomfort. I'm constantly stretching my neck out. I'm constantly trying to get relief from this stiffness. And I can't, and nobody can tell me why or give me any sort of solution. But recovery wise, I've done a lot. I spent a fair amount of money on private therapies, treatments. I've hired different consultants. I'm working with a consultant now, and he's got me on some substances that, look, I don't want to be taking, but I can't get help through the traditional healthcare field in Ontario, Canada. Nobody can help me. Nobody can give me any indication. I've had a neurologist tell me to take migraine medication and go back to work. And I say to him, I explain to him how my neck is stiff, how my scalp is stiff. And, it's kind of just passed over. And they don't understand the severity of this discomfort that I'm living with. And I don't blame them, because I don't believe this is an outlier situation, relative to existing conditions that are known. But I've done. Sorry,
I was going to say, so which symptoms resolved? So I got a good sense that there's still a lot of neck stiffness, head stiffness, throbbing headache. I'm hearing a lot of headache and muscle pain. Could you give me a sense of what symptoms resolved, and of the ones that did, how long did it take for them to go away?
Yeah. So the sleep resolved between 8 months to a year. It started to improve after 8 months, and then after a year, it started to become a little more normalized. I was getting muscle twitching. That was every 2 minutes. It was unbelievable. But I had to experiment with a neuropeptide called cerebrolysin, and I had to do hyperbaric oxygen therapy. That was against a neurologist's advisement, and I got rid of my twitching after 2 weeks. So, and again, I'm not proud to be trying these things, but I'm not left in a position where I can live with these type of symptoms normally. So it's kind of like do or die for me. I had to experiment. I had to try these things. So the twitching is completely gone. The sleep is better. So I had lost sensation in my hands, my feet, and my genital, and that's come back to a degree. I have still sexual dysfunction. I don't feel, I don't know if it's okay to share this, but it's important that you share it. So that's totally okay. Is sexual dysfunction something that is reported by people with lion's mane injury? Yeah. So that's very interesting to say that. So, a lot of people are saying that, they get sexual dysfunction, long lasting sexual dysfunction. And some are saying because, what lion's mane does. It mimics what finasteride does, and there's a syndrome called post-finasteride syndrome that people are saying that they've been getting also from lion's mane because it's also a 5-AR inhibitor like finasteride. So I mean, there's no clear studies or anything to indicate whether this is true, but we're going based off matching of the symptoms. So yeah, that's really it.
Yeah, I didn't know that about lion's mane. So there's something about lion's mane and 5-AR inhibition.
Yes.
So finasteride I didn't know finasteride had a 5-AR effect, but okay, that makes sense that there's this pharmacological action that finasteride has that causes PFS, and that lion's mane has a similar action and it's causing a group of symptoms that appear to be similar to PFS. So Ryan, can you tell me a little bit about, so you shared your recovery. What have you seen in your group in terms of like recovery? Is it something like some people recover in a couple of months, other people it's been going on for years? Can you just give me a summary of all the anecdotes that you've heard of recovery, just even if it is very uncertain or broad, just give me a sense of what you're seeing in your group.
Yeah, that's a really good question. And like you said, it's kind of all over the place recovery wise with time. But there's a lot of people who take it for, they say they take the lion's mane mushroom for a day, a week, a year. Their recovery is all very different. And there's no connection that I can see. I mean, the guy who helped me manage the group, he took it one time. It took him 1 year to recover. There's another individual who has reached out, or I've read his story, and he's still in his 5th year of recovery. He hasn't fully recovered. There's another individual who took him 10 years to recover. And some other people, they recover in a week or a month or 2 months. And it's just, it's really all over the place completely. There's no connection to how long you take the mushroom supplement to how long it takes to recover. It's just, it's literally all over the place. I'm into my over 2 years and I'm still recovering. And then you get the extreme side of 10 years to recover.
Okay. So Ryan, give me a sense of what has this done to your life? What does it cost you to have this injury?
I don't even know how to say that. I don't even know how to reply to that. It's just, it's taken everything from me. It's literally taken everything. It's taken savings. It's taken, I took a partner away from me. I mean, she couldn't be around some guy who's trying to cover for my supplement, it's destroyed my family, and it's still destroying my family. It's destroying my work life, my future life, my current life. It's
destroyed your family. How so?
They see me trying to get help and I can't get it.
Okay.
And they just are so completely lost, and they're so supportive and they're so amazing. And, I'm living day to day with these symptoms, and I'm trying to keep it together every day just in hopes that there will be a solution, or, I will get better. But, it's extremely difficult. And, they saw me, I was completely healthy. I was completely fine. And, my grandmother, she's always crying, and it's such a horrible feeling to be in, to think that, I'm the one who ingested this, and I'm the one who did this, indirectly did this to myself. And I think that's why I created that group, because when this started, there was no doctor, no person, no partner. My partner didn't believe me. Nobody believed me. And I said, look, okay, there are other people having side effects, maybe not as extreme as me, but, yeah, it's just this whole situation has just completely uplifted my life into a complete day-to-day hell. Like I don't know how to phrase it.
Yeah. What is it like suffering from a serious medical problem that no one believes is real?
It's there are no really words for it, except that you just like, for me, I feel like I'm mentally strong, but there are others who aren't. So I just say to myself, take each day as it comes. No matter if people believe you or don't, it's going to be a day-to-day recovery. At the beginning, nobody believed me. Even though I was trying, I did 3 sleep studies in the first year, and they all showed that I did barely slept, and I was trying to prove it. And, if you have an injury from a compound or a pharmaceutical, just honestly keep strong, because it will hopefully improve. When it first started for me, the 8 months of no sleep, I didn't think I would be here today, sleeping again. And I have these constant symptoms of a headache that's constant, but it's there are really no words. It's a nightmare. That's all this is. It's just complete total nightmare.
Yeah. I like what you said about, it's you gotta have hope, because even with neurological injuries, the brain is neuroplastic and it recovers. And I see it happening with a lot of the drug injuries that I see. I see mostly sedative, like Xanax, Klonopin injuries, and also antidepressant injuries in my practice, and they all recover gradually. And it's likely that that's going to be the same with the lion's mane injury as well, that given enough time, the body wants to move back to a state of balance. And if there's been some injury, even the nervous system recovers.
Mm. That's such a good message to people who feel so alone when they've gotten injured and they can't explain it because it's not recognized by the medical system.
Yeah. So, Ryan, if this has happened to someone who's listening to this, where should they turn to? Like, where should they go to start learning about this condition, to start getting support?
Yeah. Initially I would say the group on Reddit. So go to reddit.com/r/lionsmane recovery. That's the name of the subreddit. If you have any symptoms, I would say the best thing to do is just reach out to people, because so you don't feel alone. Report it to your government. I know it's relatively rare. The amount of people who take pharmaceuticals and lion's mane mushroom in general don't get harmed, but then there's a small a number of cases like me and people in the group who are harmed and just don't know where to turn to. So just find a support group talk to your doctor, report it to your doctor, even though they may or may not believe you. That's what I'm saying based on experience. But yeah, it's really, there is no clear answer or solution to seeking help for this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so, Ryan, is there anything that we haven't gotten to that it's important that you want to share or that we haven't discussed?
Not that I can really think of. The only thing is, I would say is, nobody in this situation is being held accountable. Not the medical system, not the companies selling this. The government won't hold anyone accountable. So really, just keep that in mind when you're taking supplements. I did a interview with someone on YouTube. I see people on YouTube, and the amount of people that are ignorant when it comes to these pharmaceuticals, and when it comes to lion's mane mushroom harming them, it's unbelievable to me. Because if I had known, I even had read one story that somebody could be damaged from this, I would never have touched the substance. So yeah, just for anyone who's watching that, just keep that in mind. Please don't be ignorant. Don't risk it. It's not worth it. The risk reward is not worth it at all. You don't want to ruin your life over nothing.
Well, Ryan, thank you so much for coming in and educating my audience on lion's mane injury and the group. I'd like to invite you to check in with me in a year or two and just let me know how you're doing. I'm sure people are going to be interested just to see the trajectory of your recovery and how that's going. I think that's really important. So thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Joseph. I appreciate your time, and I appreciate you shedding light on this issue that not many people are doing. So thank you.
Great. All right, Ryan. Thanks so much. You take care.